The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty in this video. The nitty-gritty will be gotten into in this video because, you know, ever since Daniel Dubois versus Joyce happened this past Saturday, a big topic of discussion has been about whether or not Daniel Dubois, if what he did was considered quitting. You know, did he quit against Joyce? Now, you know, I've been really like to myself recently. I've been studying the psychology of fighters a lot. Like and one guy I've been listening to a lot of his interviews and listening to how he talked about boxing and his philosophies on boxing is Chris Eubank Jr. Shout out to Chris Eubank Sr. You know, great warrior in his day. You know, always put on great fights, was always gonna give it his best. You never had to question Chris Eubank's heart in the fight. You could question his skills, you can question his speed, you can question a whole lot of things. But one thing we never had to question when he was fighting about Chris Eubank Sr. was his heart. You know, was basically like if he got hurt or if he got put in an uncomfortable, deep, dark position and got taken into a deep, dark place, would he have the perseverance and the intestinal fortitude to keep pressing forward and being the best version of himself to make the final bell and to fight back and show some grit and bite down and really show that he had it within him? You know, we never had to question that when it came to Chris Eubank Sr. And I feel like people, with the way society's going, people are not understanding that boxing is not a game. Now, that's been a catchphrase this week for me. Boxing's not a game. You can't play boxing. You know, in light of the whole Jake Paul thing, you can't play this sport. And I don't think people, and when I say people, I mean even the fighters themselves, even some of your favorite 18-0, 19-0, 20-0, 14-0 prospects do not consider or do not know the full responsibilities of what exactly it takes to be a fighter at that top level. You know, because how many times have we seen it, especially in recent memory in boxing, where a guy is knocking everybody out, he's looking sensational, he's looking like the most destructive force in the world, the baddest man in all the land, and then he finally runs into that one guy who punches him in his fucking mouth, and he doesn't know how to react to it, he doesn't know how to approach it, he doesn't know how to respond to it, because he's never been in a proper fight. I feel like in a lot of ways that's what happened with Daniel Dubois, and I'm gonna say it. I was being nice last video, but I'm gonna say it. Daniel Dubois quit. He quit. I don't care. Listen, I'm gonna sound hard for what I'm saying. So if you're sensitive, if you don't like what I'm saying, please get out the video because I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it 100% real with you guys. Daniel Dubois quit in that fight. This is a guy in Daniel Dubois who I still have high hopes for him. I still have high hopes that he'll go on to achieve some good things in boxing. But he quit in that fight because nowhere in the Warriors Code, and yes, I'm going to use the Warriors Code because I believe in what Chris Eubank Sr. talks about in the Warriors Code. Nowhere in the Warriors Code does it say that the fighter stops the fight. That's your coach's job, that's your trainer's job, and that's the referee's job. Your job in the fighter, as a fighter who signed up for this, who signed up to be a fighter and get in that ring, you must consider the full totality of what it is you're getting yourself into. And the reason that people tune into fights, and the reason that people love boxing, and the reason that people love certain fighters like Muhammad Ali and Roman Gonzalez and Mayweather and Pacquiao and all these guys is because they go above and beyond the call of duty. These guys go above and beyond the call of duty. All right. And I'm starting to see this. I was thinking about this a lot the last couple of days to myself. I'm starting to see in boxing that quitting is becoming a lot more accepted. You know, Daniel Dubois quit. As much as I hate to admit it, because he's one of my favorite fighters, Kell Brook quit against Errol Spence. You know, Anthony Joshua, when he fought Andy Ruiz, he quit. O'Hara Davis, when he fought Josh Taylor, he quit. Roberto Duran, when he fought Leonard, he quit. All right, now, I know most of those fighters I just named are British fighters. So maybe it's just a British thing. Maybe it's the fact that the UK fighters, and this is not me hating, this is facts. The British society and the way the Brits are just with their boxing and how they approach life is a lot more civilized. Maybe they're a bit too civilized for boxing. I don't know. That's my opinion, because a lot of the fighters that have been quitting in recent memory have been British fighters, just quitting. And people say, oh, well, you know, they didn't quit. You know, you have to look out for your health and your safety and all these things. Motherfucker, you in boxing. First of all, you're a boxer. You're a fighter. If you're a fighter and you stepping into that square circle, you better calm down with all that health and safety precaution and talk, because this sport is a dangerous sport. And I don't think a lot of people are considering how dangerous it is before they step in. They didn't count the full cost of what they were getting themselves into, you know. And if you're a fighter, right, a lot of fighters say they want that they're fighting to be legendary and they're fighting to be remembered, and they want to be one of those legends in the sport of boxing. Well, here's a little memo to all you fighters out there, all of you. I don't care if you're an amateur, low-level professional, contender, gatekeeper, world champion. I don't give a damn who you are. I'm just giving you the real. All right. You only become a legend in the sport not just by winning, okay? Because there's guys in boxing who have 10 losses, 12 losses that are going to be very remembered and very well revered because of the fact that when the going got tough, they never folded up, they never quit. If somebody beat them, they had to legitimately beat them and either knock them out, beat the fight out of them, or go the full 10 rounds or 12 rounds, whatever, how many rounds that fight was. You cannot quit. You cannot. Listen, I know it sounds harsh. I know it sounds bad. And I know, like, I'm not no professional fighter, so I shouldn't be telling professional fighters this. But I'm just telling them I'm giving them what the real perspective from the world is, whether they want to hear it or not. And y'all can hate me if y'all want. That's why I say at the end of my videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania, because I don't give a damn. You know, God loves me, so why does it matter if some people on YouTube don't like me? You know, plenty of people in my life don't like me. Plenty of people on YouTube and in life don't like me. Who gives a damn? You know, God loves me, so that's okay with me. Boxing is a sport that is brutal. Boxing is a poor man's sport. Boxing is an uncivilized sport. Boxing is a sport where, you know, you go through that pain, that suffering in the gym and in the ring for the right to have that precious title attached to your name forever of being called a champion. And what is a champion? We have to really unpack what a champion is. Okay, what is a champion? Is a champion just somebody with a title? No, because right now in boxing we have a lot of titles. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of just watering down of what being a champion is in the sport. And I think being a champion has always been more than just a belt. I think a champion, being a world champion in boxing and being a champion in boxing is your mindset. It's obviously, can you win the big fights? That plays a role into it. But most importantly, and this is where I think people don't talk about this enough when it comes to great fighters and their careers and what it truly means to be a champion in boxing. What it truly means to be a champion in boxing is this: when you step in that ring and you finally meet somebody who's as real as they say you are, and he punches you in your mouth, and maybe he gives you a cut, maybe he gives you some swelling on your eyes, maybe he puts you in some dangerous places you never even considered you'd be at in your entire life. Do you have the grit, the toughness, the tenacity, the intensity, the intelligence, and the composure to be a warrior, to bite down on that mouthpiece, to grit your teeth and say, hey, I'm here, let's go, and continue fighting as hard as you did before you got hurt, you know, and get through the fight and persevere and succeed? That's what a champion is. That's why people that's why even though all these years later, even though Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti weren't the best fighters in the world, that's why many years later these guys are still revered. That's why many years later Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns are still revered. That's why Roman Cholatito Gonzalez is going to be revered from now till the day he's no longer on earth. That's why Alexis Arguello, revered, R.I.P. That's why Muhammad Ali is revered. That's why Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield are revered. All these fighters went above and beyond the call of duty. All these fighters got taken to some deep, dark, and uncomfortable places, and they came out victorious. And that, to me, is the ultimate definition of a champion. Now, to bring it back to Dubois, right? We talk about Dubois. They were saying this kid's the next Lennox Lewis. He's the next great British heavyweight after Anthony Joshua. He's the heir apparent to the Anthony Joshua throne. And I picked him to win, so mind you, I'm speaking on a guy that I picked to win. Okay? he had not fought anybody in his career except maybe Nathan Gorman, which I don't know what you guys think about the Nathan Gorman fight, but he did fight Nathan Gorman. He beat him past that test of flying colors. But, you know, Richard Lartey, overmatched opposition. You know, he fought Ricardo Schneider's overmatched opposition. He fought one of the worst and most gross cherry picks of the last 10 years in Kyle Taro Fujimoto. You know, gross mismatch. You know, easy fight for him. So it was a guy in Dubois. I think it's fair to say, for being objective and for being real, he had never been in a real fight. He had never been in there with somebody who properly punched him in his mouth and went in his shit and really took him to some deep, dark, and uncomfortable places. And the first time in his career where Daniel Dubois went to those deep, dark, and uncomfortable places that we talk about here on True School Sports, he took a knee. He took a knee. We can say that's being harsh, but that's reality. That's what happened. He quit. And you know, it's like I was listening to Chris Eubank Jr. speak, right? And he was talking about he pulled up this picture on his phone. It was an old interview I was watching where he was talking about the Warriors code and not quitting in fights and having that drive to persevere when things get going, when the tough gets going. Chris Eubank Sr. pulled out a picture of what his face looked like after the Carl Thompson fight. Carl Thompson beat the shit out of Chris Eubank Sr. Just really hurt him badly. And he said that he was getting beat up so bad that he wanted to piss on himself. It was that bad. But did Chris Eubank Sr. quit in that fight? Did he say, oh, you know, this could really hinder my health for the rest of my life? No. He bit down and he finished those 12 rounds like a man and took his beating like a man. And at the end of the fight, he was a gentleman. He gave Carl Thompson his just due, and he carried on with his career. And because of things like that, Chris Eubank Sr., wherever he goes in the UK, for the most part, people see him in the street, they're going to love him, they're going to review him, not just for the Nigel Benn fights, and not just for those legendary nights, but the nights where he was losing and didn't look so good, and was taken to bad places that most men on earth were quitting, and he didn't quit. That makes a great fighter. When my favorite fighter of all time, I was just watching this fight last night, when Roman Gonzalez fought Cesar Kitso Rumvasai in 2017. Guy was bigger than him. Guy dropped him in the first round. Clashed your heads in the third round. So he had already been dropped, and he had a big gash on the side of his I think it was his left eye or his right eye. Okay, he could have said, you know what, you know, my health is at risk. You know, I can live to fight another day. But did he do that? No. Roman Gonzalez bit down. He continued to fight that fight from round 3 to round 12 as if nothing happened. Go back and watch the fight. He fought those remaining 9 rounds like nothing happened. And he was unfortunate to not get the decision. You know, a lot of people thought he won the fight, myself included. But because of that fight, even though he lost, because of that fight and how he persevered through adversity, this is why Roman Cholatito Gonzalez, to me, is a first ballot Hall of Famer, along with his accomplishments. But like, to me, that's one of his biggest accomplishments. It's not just the 4 division championships. It's not the being pound for pound king of boxing. It's not being lineal champion. But it's persevering through what was a very, very grueling fight that most people would have folded under. That's what makes you a legend. That makes you a champion. And I'm not saying Daniel Dubois can't go and achieve good things and be a good heavyweight, but I feel like in boxing, right, you know, it's very few fighters who can quit like that at the first sign of discomfort. I mean, think about it. Let's be objective. I'm not being emotional. I'm not hating on Dubois, because you can check back my whole entire history of videos here on YouTube. I've never once hated on Dubois. Always spoke good about him. I like him. I think he's got talent. But boxing and being great in the sport is so much more than talent. And I wish people would understand that. It's so much more than talent. This kid Dubois, he has everything you want in heavyweight. He's built like a fucking Adonis. He's huge. He can punch. He's got a good jab. He's got a good right hand. He's got a lot of tools. But now, and I think it's fair to, I know he's a fighter, so I don't want to come off like I'm disrespecting him, but we got to call a spade a spade. The first time in his career, the going got tough, and Joe Joyce punched him in his mouth with jabs, with just jabs. He took a knee. And everybody out there saying, oh, well, you know, Dubois did the right thing because his health is in jeopardy and all this stuff. What do you mean he did the right thing because his health is in jeopardy? Everyone who's boxing before they even get hit with a punch, anybody who steps in that ring, the health is in jeopardy. So what the hell do you mean when you say, oh, he did the right thing because his health was in jeopardy? Everybody's health is in jeopardy. This isn't golf. Everybody's health is in jeopardy. So I just feel like boxing right now is a reflection of society. Society has become very soft. Society accepts mediocrity. Society tolerates welcomes mediocrity. You go to school as a kid trying to learn how to be mediocre. When they pass you with failing grades, I should know. I'm a product of the Broward County public education system, so I know how it works around here. I know how it works in at least in America. You know, education system is pretty trash here. But listen, Daniel Dubois, he quit in that fight. There's no way you could tell me he didn't. You know, it's all fine. You know, that's what we learn. That's what we learn. Who's a contender in boxing and who's a pretender. What's gonna happen when somebody punches you in your mouth and really takes you into a deep place that you haven't been before? Do you have the dog in you and the grit to respond? That's why, like, for better or for worse, that's why right now, for me personally, I still question Devin Haney. I question Devin Haney at this point in his career and what he's gonna do, because yeah, he's got 25 wins or whatever it is, 24 wins, 25 wins, but who has he fought that's punched him in his mouth, fought back, and really had an answer for him? Nobody yet, because he hasn't fought anybody. So until he gets in a position where he's got to answer the bell and he gets asked the question of how bad do you want to be great, you know, will you, and he deals with some sort of discomfort in the ring, that's when we'll know about Devin Haney. That's when we'll know if he's truly what people on YouTube and boxing experts, that's when he'll validate what the hype about him. Not now when he's fighting washed Gamboa, okay? And the same thing goes for many prospects like him that right now in boxing, and prospects that'll come after him in boxing. Same thing goes for Jaron Ennis. As much as I like Jaron Ennis, nobody's punched him in his mouth. So what's gonna happen when Jaron Ennis is punched in his mouth? What's gonna happen when Nikita Abibi, the white chocolate from New York, what's gonna happen when somebody punches him in his mouth? These are questions that every fighter has to answer at some point. They do. You know what I'm saying? So Daniel Dubois quit. And you know, and if you're out here, like, look, if you're out here, right, and you're in my comment section right now, and you're saying, oh, BT, how could you say these things about Daniel Dubois? He's a fighter. How dare you question the heart of a fighter? And I'm not questioning his heart. I'm not questioning that, because to even want to step into the ring, let alone do it on TV in front of thousands upon potentially millions of people. In Dubois' case, you got a whole country on your back as the most hyped up British heavyweight since Anthony Joshua. You know, that takes a lot of pressure. That takes a lot of heart. So I'm not questioning his heart. But what I am going to question is his ability to continue fighting on when things are going not his way. You know, quitters do that. Daniel Dubois quit in that fight. There's no two ways about it. You know. So if you're out here and you're telling me, oh, I don't know how you could question him, then you're part of the problem. Like, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, and on top of that, you don't understand boxing. You don't. If you're over here getting mad at me for pointing out what's an obvious observation that anybody with 2 or 4, in my case 4 eyes, can see, then you don't properly understand boxing, and you don't properly understand all the things that the fighters have to consider before they even consider being fighters. You know, they're not like us humans. They're not like the people, you know, that are walking the streets in the background on these videos right now. These guys are warriors. The warrior is strong. The warrior is brave. The warrior cannot quit. The warrior must press forward in times of adversity and find a way to win. That is the beauty and that is the essence of boxing. If you're a fighter, right, and you're 18-0, and you got all this hype for beating fucking nobodies, and you finally get into a fight when you get punched in your mouth for a couple of rounds, for 9-10 rounds, and the first time you get discomfort, you decide you want to take a knee, that's not called being smart. That's not called being wise. That's called being a quitter. All right, we call a spade here. That's called being a quitter. And I don't care what nobody says. I know I'll probably get people in my comments from the UK saying, "Oh, BT, you're being a hater. You're being biased. You don't know shit about boxing. How dare you question Daniel Dubois because he's a fighter and you're not?" You know, what else is there? I'm unsubscribed for this channel. You falling off. Like, I get all kinds of crazy comments. You guys always try to take these digs at me when I tell you the real, and you can't handle it because you're too sensitive, because your father and your mother and your family never kept it real with you and authentic with you as a kid. So when somebody actually does keep it real and authentic with you, you take it as hating because you're just soft and you have soft skin. But I'm telling you the real. Daniel Dubois quit in that fight, and I was very disappointed in Daniel Dubois, because when I looked at Daniel Dubois, I saw a guy who has the tools and still does have the tools to be great. I'm not saying he can't be great, but that road, I'm telling you right now, that road to be great is going to be a lot harder, because he quit. He quit on himself. He quit. He quit on himself. I don't care how bad it got. I don't care how grueling it got. That's not part of the game. You don't take a knee and take a 10 count at the first sign of discomfort. You don't. That's just not how it works. You were up in that fight. You had a legitimate chance. Had you had it within you to press forward for 2 to 3 more rounds, you had the chance to beat Joyce. And then instead of me talking about how you quit and how you're now teetering of having that, you're now in danger of having that label hype job slapped on you, because the reality is this: anybody who calls Daniel Dubois a hype job right now wouldn't be wrong. They wouldn't be wrong. This guy fought nobodies. He fought Ricardo Schneider. He fought Fujimoto. He fought fucking no one. All right? All we heard was hype. And when he finally got into a real fight, he folded up like a blue steel chair, like The Rock and Chris Jericho. So I'm not going to call him a hype job right now, because I still think Daniel Dubois got a chance to do something in boxing. But I'm realistic. I know that road back to actually achieve anything is going to be very, very difficult. Very difficult, because now fighters know that if they take Daniel Dubois into those deep, dark, uncomfortable places, that he's going to fold up, or there's a chance that he's going to fold up, because he's done it in the past. That's reality, and I wish the kid nothing but success in his career. I love Dubois as a fighter. I'm just left. I left that fight with a lot to be desired. In terms of not in terms of his actual performance, because I thought his performance was good. He used a straight right hand. He showed the ability to be a dangerous offensive fighter. I do think he needs to tighten up his defense, which hopefully he works on that in the gym and works on parrying shots and being a better fighter at gauging distance. But I was left very disappointed about him not being able to answer those questions of Joyce with the jab. Joyce barely showed him the right hand, and Daniel Dubois took a 10 count and a knee. And if you're out here, I'm gonna say it one last time before I end the video. If you're out here openly applauding Daniel Dubois taking a knee, then you do not understand boxing. You do not understand what it takes to be great in boxing. You do not understand anything. And if you're a fan of these guys, if you're a fan of these fighters like Muhammad Ali and Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, Riddick Bowe, Holyfield, Eric Morales, Barrera. If you're a fan of any of these guys, there's a reason you're a fan of them. It's not just because they're great skilled fighters. There's plenty of great skilled fighters in boxing that nobody gives a fuck about, because when the going got tough, they didn't know how to answer the bell. They couldn't. There's so many fighters like that throughout the whole history of boxing. And many of them are forgotten about or afterthoughts. It's only the guys that go above and beyond the call of duty, like your Tyson Furies as well. Tyson Fury, a guy that got up off the canvas after Deontay Wilder hit him with a 1-2 straight from hell, a straight right hand and a left hook from hell that would have put any man out. But he got up and he went more than above the call of duty. And that's why Tyson Fury is loved and revered as a great fighter. It's only the great fighters, the ones that go above and beyond the call of duty that get revered. And if you don't, and you quit in the first tough fight you have, it's going to be very hard for people to take you seriously as a great fighter. They might acknowledge your talents and skills and your abilities, but in terms of the actual execution of those skills and abilities, no way in hell will you be acknowledged as a great fighter, because a great fighter is someone who fights. A great fighter is someone who fights when things aren't going his way. And Daniel Dubois didn't do that. And I can't believe I'm making this video. I can't believe I'm making this video talking about Daniel Dubois quitting, because I had so much high hopes for him. I had the audacity to put him up there with the great PhilHerrigovic, who I think, unlike Dubois, and hopefully I'm not wrong about this one, PhilHerrigovic, who I like, and I admire him, and I had a chance to get to know him a little bit. Good guy, fantastic fighter, promising talent. Hasn't yet had that Joyce caliber fight yet. He will at some point. But from what I know about him, and just seeing him train in the gym and everything I've gathered on him, I can't see PhilHerrigovic folding up like Daniel Dubois did. Not like that. Not with no, you know, when you get swelling on your eye and the guy's letting jabs. I can't see that. So, you know, it's really sad. Not just for Dubois, but I would even say in a certain sense British boxing, because even though Joe Joyce is also British, Joe Joyce is 34 years old. So Joe Joyce, even if Joe Joyce gets to the top of heavyweight boxing, he's not going to be there very long. And then, you know, it's going to be a long and arduous and tough and just grueling road back for Daniel Dubois. So, yeah, I've been rambling for 25 minutes about Daniel Dubois quitting. But there's let there be no debates. Let there be no qualms. Let there be no confusion. Daniel Dubois quitting that fight. And I wish him success. I wish him nothing but safety and health and prosperity and all that stuff. But, you know, I think people are well within their rights to call you a hype job. I think people are well within their rights to question if you really got what it takes to be a champion. Because a champion doesn't fold at the first sign of discomfort. A champion doesn't, you know, get on his knees and quit in the first real fight he ever has. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I'm sure I'll get some great comments in this video, but you guys take the time to subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, or unsubscribe or dislike. I don't really give a damn. I'm speaking the truth. I'm crossing the street. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding from doing it. So until next time, take care, guys.